What's going on, guys? Critic here, back again for another video, and in this video, I dropped Westworld 20 times. Now, Westworld is a location in OG Fortnite, located on the outskirts of Paradise Palms in the desert biome. It has amazing loot, and is often a fairly secluded drop spot, so you won't find many players contesting you. If you're wondering how I'm playing OG Fortnite in 2024, I'm using Project Era, links in the description. With all that being said, I dropped Westworld 20 times, and this is what happened. Game number 1 was your average drop into Westworld. I landed and took this small white house on the right. I continued to loop the POI as normal and came out with a purple sawed-off gold FAMAS grappler and tons of shields. I then proceeded to rotate down to Salty Springs, where I did run into some trouble. Now, Westworld does, as you can see, have great loot, and is often best for solos and duos. It can support a squad, but you'll get your best loot being solo or with a duo. Anyways, back to this fight here. I grapple into Salty Springs, drawing a little bit of attention to myself, and get shot in the open. I fumble over my builds, trying to put up some cover, and build into this tree. This would prove to be a little bit of a mistake, as I couldn't really build or see him, so I dropped down. Luckily, with this grappler and sawed-off combo, I dealt with this man pretty quickly. I then continued on rotating, making my way toward Loot Lake. As you can see, these games were recorded in Season 5 of Project Era, as the cube has been moving around the map, leaving its runes. As you can see, here is the Salty rune in its anti-gravity zone. Anyways, I continue on down to Loot Lake, and I get landed on. I notice that I hear the glider, and he gets the high ground on top of me, and I, for some reason, decide not to build. He does a ton of damage, and gets pretty close to killing me. So a little bit of spray with my FAMAS, and I get that lucky headshot to win the fight. Thankfully, with all my shields and the slurp juices that I was delivered by him, I was quickly able to recover until I was sniped. Building up again, I quickly try to pop a slurp juice, hoping I can get some meds in before he comes, but he had a grappler, and I was quickly killed. Game number 2 went exactly the same as Game 1 did. I landed Westworld, looted it up, and left and rotated down to Salty Springs. However, this time in Salty Springs there was quite a few fights going, and I decided to hide, play passive, and then pick the right moment to third party. And once this guy turtled up to med, I launched my attack, spraying my Scar. He, unfortunately, was better at building, and I didn't build much at all, and he also had a sawed-off and quickly killed me. Not a very good game. Game 3, on the other hand, went much better. I hit this nice snipe on this default, thinking that crouching up and down in the open would save him, and the guy he was fighting on top in that portafort, I also tried to kill. I sprayed my Scar at him. I did land a couple of nice hits, but I fumbled over my builds and he got some damage, but thankfully I ended this with one clean pump shot. I then sniped this guy in the storm who was rotating and sprayed him in the back, and then using my grappler and the anti-gravity zone, got over his head and sprayed him down in this pretty cool fashion. Actually, I wasn't expecting to get that nice bloom, and got this over the top spray kill. I then continued rotating until I was sniped at on the outskirts of Shifty Shafts right by Tilted Towers. I turtled up, and we kinda had this little sniper standoff, but it didn't really turn out to anything, so I grappled away and left. However, as I made it on top of this next hill, I was quickly jumped by someone else, and this time we actually had a proper build fight. Of course, I didn't do a very good job of building, and as a result, I quickly turned to hiding underground in a bush, and as a result, killed very quickly, as I deserve. Game number 4 went pretty similar to game number 3. I landed Westworld, looted up, and popped this rift to rotate. That was until I spotted a llama right by the gas station right outside of Westworld, so deciding to waste my rift, I dropped down to grab that llama, as any smart person would do. After that, I rotated into the final circle, where we got 7 people left, and the second to last zone is closing. I was in a bush and camping, waiting for the right moment to strike, and decided to third party this man right here who had just gotten a clean kill. I waited for the right moment to strike, and as soon as he started popping some shields behind those tires, I made my move, spraying my Scar into him and putting in some really solid damage. I then kinda fell down the hill, not really building properly, but also throwing clingers to try and get a lucky grenade kill. However, once I was on the ground and on his level, as the zone closed in, I sprayed and prayed with my scar. And of course I did not build, but I still got the kill, but it was close. However, little did I know I would soon get third-partied by someone else who would kill me with their grenade. Game 5, I landed Westworld, what a surprise. I then climbed up the mountain and popped the rift right outside of Westworld to rotate, and I flew my way down to Dusty Divot, where I found another bush and, surprise surprise, camped in it. This little Viking girl then tried to loot up Dusty Divot, and after failing to get into the truck and walking right toward me, I hit her for a clean 100 pump shot. I then missed my next pump shot and only got a little bit of damage from my SMG, and then cleared another pump shot only for minimal damage. However, her head was just barely poking up, and I got the lucky headshot with my third and final pump shot for the kill. However, I would soon get third-partied again as this Raven showed up, and I put some damage into my sawed-off, but I thought he would come low, and he came high, and I died. Game 6 was the first game I was actually contested dropping Westworld, but with these clingers, I was able to get a well-placed clinger stick and killed this man for his loot. Thanks, OnlyFansmer. Yes, that was his actual name, and I was completely uncontested the rest of my time at Westworld. I then heard some shots and noticed that another man was over in the shanty by the outskirts of Westworld, and he was doing the shoot the clay pigeons challenge. I figured, free kill, let's ruin his fun, and I did just that with a nice headshot and a clean beam, and he was down. I then rotated down to Retail Row and saw this default and thought maybe I could get a cheeky kill. Turns out he was way sweatier than I anticipated, and I tried to build fight him. And then resorted back to my noobish ways and decided to just drop down from the build, try to run to the house, change my mind yet again, throw a clinger, run to the back of the house, and proceeded to get absolutely clobbered by this man. He built over me, I did nothing, I got shot, I hit him with my second shot-up shot, then I tried to spray him, he built over me again, and ended the game with a pump shot. Game 7, I dropped Westworld, looted it, and left. I hopped the rift on top of the mountain, and this is a great example to show you of just how powerful the rifts can be. Now, normally I can get to about Salty Springs with this rift, but instead I decided to take it all the way down to the small oasis right here, right where the desert biome ends, and hop a second rift to get me all the way to the top of the mountain outside of Dusty. Once I made it up here, I was refilling my shields from being shot out of the sky when this guy grappled up on me. He was way better and killed me quick. Game 8, I landed Westworld, got my loot, and left. I even found a bush. I rotated right back down to Salty Springs as I normally do, and heard some man in the crack house. I decided to drop down and see if I could pull a fast one on him, but instead of sitting still, I moved around, unaware that he had made his way onto the roof. He then quickly spotted me, shot me, and while I tried to fight back, I didn't build at all, and of course was quickly killed as a result. Game 9, I landed Westworld right on top of a purple scar. This should be a pretty good game. I then rotated into Little White House, where I found a slurp juice and was dealt a purple rocket launcher. Things are really looking good now. Once I got all shielded up, I rotated toward the blue house in the middle of Westworld, and inside that chest I got dualies but a little more shields. I then realized I was contested. I did not hear this man land with me. However, a couple shots of my purple scar put him right out of his misery. I then rotated down to Paradise Palms, and much to my surprise, got sniped. Game number 10, I missed my drop to Westworld, but thankfully, with the rifts of the Oasis, I was able to make it all the way to the POI. However, I had a little less time to loot. That wasn't a problem, however, as I hastily looted the POI, and then hopped my rift to go to leave. I then made my way down to Dusty Divot, where I, in fact, found someone on top of the diner. However, much to my surprise, instead of shooting me as I built up on him, he ran away, only to try and climb back up the other side. I, however, was prepared for him, and hit him with a nasty pump shot. He, however, also hit me with a nasty one as well, before I ended the fight. I figured I'd have a chance to heal, but a third party came in almost instantly, and I was killed. Game 11 went a little bit better. I landed Westworld, hopped to my rift to go, and made my way toward Fatal Fields. I then proceeded to use my shockwave grenade instead of my harvesting tool to try and get through the wall. I don't know why I did this, I just hit the wrong keybind, even though my keys for the harvesting tool are 3 and the key for the shockwaves are C. Don't ask me how I got those mixed up, I still do not know. After looting Fatal, I made my way toward Tilted, where I found a llama by the river and happily looted his soul. From there, I continued to make my way into Tilted Towers itself, where I knew I would find a fight. With 5 people left, I was hungry for some kills, and figured Tilted would be the best spot to find some. I did, as I found this drift hiding under the stairs. That's my job. I hit him for a good 100 pump shot, and then sprayed him down before he could use his minigun. The fighting, of course, did not stop there. This is Tilted. I then found this sweat rotating from the pawn shop, and I figured this would be a pretty easy kill. I had the high ground. However, he was a sweaty builder, and he just continued to spam and turbo build, so I decided to push in. Maybe I could get in his box. However, he edit played me, dropping me with 24 HP, and instead of boxing up and heal myself, I tried to keep fighting, and died. Games 12 and 13 were played in duos with Maple. We landed Westworld, as that's the point of this video. With the zone pulling toward the center of the map, we were able to spend some extra time in Westworld and had a jolly time just fooling around. I found several porta-forts and decided let's make a porta-fort sandwich and stack them on top of each other. So I did just that, and promptly trapped myself between the two. Once trapped, I figured, oh, I'll just edit my way out, no problem, and decided now would be a great time to show that I'm terrible at editing, and fumbled over it many times. I finally did get out, but we're not going to talk about how many attempts it took for me to actually succeed that. I used to be way better, you'll just have to believe me. However, as the zone started to finally shrink, we decided it was time to rotate, and we did, toward Tilted Towers. Once we were there, we set up a porta-fort and a launch pad, and found another squad trying to leave Tilted. We engaged in a long-range sniper battle that was long and drawn out. Mape even hit the floss, trying to bait them. But eventually, we got bored and decided screw it, let's push them, and hopped the launch pad onto the hill. I missed my drop completely, but Mape did not. However, I had to build up on the mountain, and unfortunately the enemy was there before me, built over me, and quickly disposed of me. Mape tried, but she only had dualies, not a shotgun, and was quickly disposed of soon after. Still with Maple in Game 13, we landed Westworld, but we'll cut to the chase this time. You don't need to see the tomfoolery, you get the idea. We waltzed our way right into the endgame with some amazing loot. I had a Scar, Sniper, and Sawed-Off, and Mape had a Scar and minigun. This should go well. The 2v2 was me and Mape versus a duo of drifts, and it started exactly the same as Game 12 with a long-range sniper battle. However, once again we got bored and decided to just push in and hope for the best. However, the odds were in our favor as you can fight, but you can't win against the minigun and Sawed-Off. And we won Game 13 of Westworld 20 Drops. Game 14, I landed and looted Westworld as normal, before then rifting out and rotating down to Paradise Palms. I saw that several people had landed there, and decided to see if I could pick off the winner. It was this Galaxy skin who tried to grapple over me, missed, and fell. I then knew he was going to grapple up again and was prepared, and ended him with a single clean pump shot. I then made my way down to Salty Springs, where I got into some trouble myself, and we started trading a couple of shots as he built up toward me. I don't know what possessed me, but I decided to try and use the same grapple technique that Galaxy skin did. And, as expected, I got right over him, and he killed me instantly. Game 15 wasn't much better. I landed Westworld, got some pretty mid-tier loot, and rotated down to Fatal Fields, hoping I would get myself a little bit of an upgrade. Unfortunately for me, I didn't really find much of an upgrade, but a little bit did help. I did find a blue pump. I also found some shockwave grenades, and I don't know why I was carrying boogie bombs. I never used a single one before dying, I kid you not. I then made my way down to the final circle in Loot Lake, where it was me and 2 others. And this guy was way sweatier than me, and I shouldn't have picked a fight with him. Obviously, I did not build, which resulted in my death. Game 16, landed Westworld, looted it, and left. I made my way down toward the dance club where I looted this supply drop. Got myself a gold moss before heading into the dance club itself, hoping to find some more upgrades, as the loot this time in Westworld was subpar at best. This was probably one of the worst loot drops I had in my entirety of these 20 drops to Westworld, which, considering it's at Game 16 now, that isn't too bad. I then sniped this man on the spire outside of Salty Springs before engaging in a very long snipe battle with him, where we traded lots and lots of snipe shots. Eventually, once again, like games 12 and 13, I got bored, I pushed him, and then died. Game 17 went much better, however. After landing and looting at Westworld, I left in between Dusty Divot and Loot Lake. That's where I came across this man hiding in the ruined house below that hill. You know the one. I killed him pretty quickly with this lucky spray and pray, and after that, I continued making my way across Loot Lake. I decided to rotate back out toward this vending machine. I had a challenge for it when I heard footsteps approaching and found this galaxy skin with a rocket launcher. I cleaned him up, but it was a really sloppy kill, and I'm surprised that he didn't fight back. I then continued on, making my way across Loot Lake again, still searching for more people, when I found this drift skin going for a supply drop. I crouched low and lined up my snipe, and ended it with a nice headshot. I then posted up in the final circle with 3 people left, and the person in front of me was looting the supply drop loot of the man I had just sniped moments before. However, unbeknownst to me, the third party was right above me, and I didn't notice until I was shot down to 50 HP. I tried to rocket launch him, and then build myself some cover to med, but he pushed me way too soon, and I didn't stand a chance. Game 18 was unfortunately not as great as Game 17 was. I landed Westworld, I looted it, and left rotating down toward Dusty Divot. I then decided to pick a fight with this drift in Dusty Divot, and realized pretty quickly that I was outmatched. I whiffed a ton of shots, didn't build, and as a result, I was very quickly overwhelmed and dusted on. Game 19 was probably the best drop in all of these 20 drops to Westworld. I landed, looted, got some extremely good loot, and kept my nose clean to the final circle. And here we are in the final circle with 4 people left, my loot extreme, and I push this Port-a-Fort build fight as soon as it drops to 3 people left. It was me and 2 others already in this fight. I was coming in for the third party. I make my way to the top of this Port-a-Fort and see this one man building in the corner, and I hear one man under me. I end this first man with 1 clean shot of my sawed-off, and then turn my attention to the man under me. Popping a quick slurp juice, I expect him to push me, but surprisingly, he doesn't. I then search around, hoping I could hear him under me, and I hear him right here in the middle of the structure. I then whip out my P90 to try and start spraying him down, but he edits his way out of the build. This is where I lose him. I cannot seem to find him. He just kinda seemed to slip away. And then I heard him drop all the way down to the ground. So I kept spraying just in case I get taken by surprise and make my way down the structure as well. I then hear him right under me underneath this stone ramp, and I try to land a shot on him. Unfortunately, I miss and he builds up, and he then grapples all the way over to the little shanty hut. I quickly follow, building up after him, knowing that this was going to be the final build fight. I quickly flank him around and stop building, catching him off guard. He then places up a wall to block my first shot, but not my second, and I win Game 19 of the Westworld 20 drops. And here we are, Game 20. This ought to be a good one, and it was alright. We don't win, but that's not surprising, judging my skill throughout these last 20 games. I landed Westworld, looted it up, and then rotated out as I usually do, making my way down to Salty Springs toward Tilted Towers because Zone started pulling toward Viking Village. I then found this drift who was farming this tree, and I hit a little semi-auto snipe on him and then beamed him down with my burst rifle. Unfortunately, I only landed that first shot, so I tried that grapple over the top of him technique, and this time it worked in my favor, and I got the kill. And now we're in the final circle, 5 people left and on top of Viking Village. There was nothing really interesting that happened to me for the rest of the match up until this point. I then get taken by surprise with this snipe shot, and in a panic I build all over myself. I then get shot out, and I decide to try and throw some clutch clingers and actually get the stick. However, I walked into my third clinger by mistake, taking tons of damage as well. And instead of building up and boxing the med like my enemy did, I tried to keep fighting and lay on the pressure. I then find an LMG hoping I can spray and pray my way to a cheeky kill, and unfortunately for me it doesn't work out, as he just spam builds. I then get taken all the way down to 3 HP, and then I decide, oh, now might be a good time to pop some meds. However, he knew that I was low, pushed out, and I died. The drops are over. Thank you so very much for watching. This video was a ton of fun to make, and I plan to make a ton more in the future. Be sure to like and subscribe if you enjoy my content, and thank you to Razor for being my editor and thumbnail artist. Until then guys, thanks for watching, and I will see you all next time. Bye everyone!